Welcome back to What to Know Before the Show. In this video, I'm going to show you some of the features of a typical mixing board and how you can get the most out of it, get the most out of the sound going out to your audience. So come here a little closer and I'm going to show you what's happening here on this mixing board. So for a lot of people, when they look at a mixing board, they get overwhelmed by the amount of knobs and buttons and flashing lights. And it can be very confusing for people, but what I want to do is I want to walk you through some of the basic features on a mixing board, and hopefully it'll help alleviate some of that mixing board trauma that people sometimes feel when they look at it and they just see the amount of stuff that can go on here. But I want to simplify it for you, so if you're ever renting your own gear, you feel adequate, you feel capable enough to set up your own mixing board and have good sound coming out of it. So let's have a little look at the mixing board. Okay, so if you remember watching some of the other videos that we've done, and we talked about mixing boards, and we talked about how to plug in your mixing board, we still have our wireless mic system, and what we do is we plug that into a channel. So a mixing board is broken into different channels, and each channel is going to allow you to plug something different into your mixing board. So we've plugged a microphone into channel number 1, as you can tell by the big number 1 down here. In the other videos, go back and check out the video that I talked about gain structure and how important it is to get good gain structure. And this is what this knob here is. It's for gain structure. This is the amount of signal that you're having come directly into your board. Okay? That's very, very important to get you started on using a mixing board properly. If you look here, we have a low cut. That means that it's going to cut low frequencies. So if you get any humming, like from a microphone, or you have someone whose voice is too deep or too resonant deeply, you can actually press that button and it'll cut off the low frequencies to your mixing board, which is a great idea when you're using pretty much any microphone. Is hit the low cut button, it'll cut off the lower frequencies and it'll keep your microphone sounding nice and bright. As I said before, there's your trim and your gain structure. Now let's skip over these two knobs for a minute, because you're probably not going to use those a whole lot if you're doing pretty simple setups, but let's jump down to here. This is called an EQ. Now, if you have a home stereo system, this is exactly what's on your home stereo system. And on your home stereo system, it'll say high, mid, and bass. This one says high, mid, and low. Same. It works just like your home stereo system. If someone is too screechy, their voice is too high, what you can do is you can bring down the high frequencies a little bit. If someone's way too bassy in their voice and you want to brighten up their voice a little bit, you can bring down the low a bit and even actually turn up the highs a bit. But really what I want you to look at is that sound works in wavelengths. So it works up and down and up and down. And so what you really want to do is you want to compensate for that as well. So what I usually do is if someone's got a good clear microphone and a nice signal, I just bring the middle down a little bit and it gives the sound a nice little swoop. But you know, what you're going to do is you're going to set this up and you're going to do during your sound check, you're going to get the best signal or the best sound out of your mixing board by using these knobs to clear out some of the frequencies that aren't working in the room. And you want to use this depending on what size room you're in. If you're set up near speakers, you're going to want to keep feedback from happening. That's going to happen by turning down some of the frequencies that are going to feedback. So those are basically the EQ for your mixing board. Next we have pan. And pan, what it does is just sends the signal out to your speakers, and it'll send all the signal out to your right speaker or all the signal out to your left speaker, but you're probably not going to use that a whole lot. You're going to want it right in the middle. That's going to send equal signal out to your two speakers, your left and your right one, and you'll get a nice clear sound on both sides. This is your mute button. Now, your mute button is what it's basically going to do. It's going to turn off that channel without having to turn the volume down. So say your volume for your mixing board is there. You're going to hit your mute button and it's just going to shut off that channel so that none of this sound goes out to your mixing board. And that comes in really, really handy if you're going to EQ a song or something happens, say someone's microphone starts to feedback and you need to get rid of that channel before you can fix it right away. You hit the mute button and it'll cut the channel off. Also, you can use this for your wireless handheld microphones when you're doing mic runs. So if the microphone is just sitting and not being used at that time, you can just mute that channel so that if someone bumps it off the table or someone's sitting beside that microphone and they're talking, that microphone is no longer sending any signal out to your speakers. It's still coming into the board, but is no longer sending it out to your speakers. As we talked about in gain structure, using your pre-fade or your solo allows you to listen to what's going on for this channel in headphones directly in the mixing board, but also doesn't send the signal out. So if you mute this channel and you put on your solo, you can hear what this channel still sounds like through your headphones without having that same sound going out to your speakers. Really great thing to have the option for. The bottom control here, this is your main volume that's sending the signal out to your speakers for this particular channel. So this one's just going to be your volume control for this channel. Okay, so now back up to here. What we have an auxiliary 1. And auxiliary, what that allows you to do is send a signal out to some other device. So that could be a stage monitor, that could be a recording device, anything that you want to send a separate signal from this channel out to. And you can adjust them independently. So say you have a stage monitor, and a stage monitor is basically a speaker that you're going to have on stage so you can hear yourself on stage. Or you can hear certain aspects of what you have plugged in the mixing board. So say on this mixing board, channel 1 is your microphone, channel 2 is a handheld microphone, and channel 3 is a handheld microphone. When you're on stage, you're going to want to be able to hear all of those things. So you're going to turn yourself up a little bit so you can hear yourself in your monitor. But also, if you have an audience member who's asking a question, you're going to want to make sure that you can hear them as well from your monitor that you have on stage. So you'll turn them up, and also the other handheld microphone, you'll want to turn that up as well. What you're going to do is you're going to go up on stage and you're going to test and see how loud you want each one of these. And if you want your own volume to be quieter, you can do that and have your two handheld microphones louder. Yeah, so auxiliary is sending out a separate signal than the signal that's just going out to your main speakers. It can be sent out to a recording device. It also can be sent out to a stage monitor as well. So this one works the same as the first. This is also an auxiliary. This is auxiliary number 2. So you can have two things working independently of each other and different volumes going out to them independently as well. So this one could be your stage monitor. This one could be your recording device. Also, if you want to add any effects to your voice, which oftentimes you won't because you're a speaker on stage and you probably won't need effects, you can plug effects into the mixing board, and then this volume control can be used to add more or less effect. Probably won't use it that much, but it's there in case you need it. So when it comes to mixing board, there's nothing to be feared, just things to be understood. So understand that a mixing board works on each channel independently and then one main volume out to your speakers. So before you use a mixing board, have a little look at it, simplify it by looking at each channel independently and how to focus on each one of those and make adjustments accordingly for that one channel, and then work your way to the next channel, 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 the next channel. And that's what to know before the show.